Welcome back, Resident Evil fans. I just want to say that Resident Evil 4 sucks, but not the game itself. The game itself was great. I love the game. Resident Evil 4 is known as the game that changed the franchise, and it did. It released as a Nintendo GameCube exclusive on January 11th, 2005. There were several versions of the game that were eventually scrapped before the version of Resident Evil 4 came out that we all know. Resident Evil 2 was my favorite, so I was happy to see Leon and Ada, and it was certainly a selling point to me. But to me, that was the only thing about Resident Evil 4 that resembled the things I loved about the game. With that said, I'm not going to spend this video shitting on the game so many people love so much. Before the game's release, in an interview by GameSpy with "I am so sorry for how this is going to come out," Hiroyuki Kobayashi says, when asked what can be expected to be new and different about this game compared to previous installments, his reply was, "The Umbrella Corporation is dead and gone, and there are no zombies." Let me repeat that. No zombies. Zombies were kind of the staple, and that's, to me, that was important. As I've previously stated, the zombies were something that I loved about the series. A couple of them in a small hall, or like in Resident Evil 2, you start in the streets with relatively no bullets and zombies on and off screen shambling towards you. The slow walk and quick move towards you as you tried to pass was great and terrible. I got so mad the first time I played it, I stopped playing it briefly. Rage quit. Adding faster zombies in the 2002 Resident Evil remake was an interesting and fun choice. However, the Ganados seen in Resident Evil 4 are seemingly humans under some kind of mind control, speaking and using weapons. They appear as anything from villagers using pitchforks and hatchets to soldiers using guns and rocket launchers. This made for some great gameplay, but it took away from the horror left by zombies who attacked with their mouth. Later in the game, their heads would explode into whatever they grow into. I assume the parasite just grew and took over the body and exploded out the head. These were great enemies and were great for action-oriented gameplay, just not very Resident Evil. The horror was gone. Las Plagas is a parasite found locked in amber like something out of Jurassic Park. I assume Lord Sadler was the first to be parasited? Infected? Whatever it's called when you get a parasite. One of the things to me that made the previous games so good was the Umbrella Corporation. The concept, you know, a small group of people against this huge corporation. Company that makes bioweapons, is contracted by the government, and has made a long career out of making sure their secrets stay hidden. After nuking Raccoon City, the secret was safe. No need to get rid of the company. Now we're left with Lord Sadler and some religious group nobody's ever heard of. Of course, after 4, there was Tricell, TerraSave, and even the FBC. They can't seem to get anything to stick. It's like they just seem to keep trying new things and bringing them down. They create a corporation or a company just to bring them down in the same game. Getting rid of the common enemy, Umbrella, was, to me, a mistake. We would have already known they were corrupt, and nobody would have ever had to believe it. This could just be me, though. Having one seemingly invincible enemy would have its troubles, too. I like to believe that they still exist as an underground entity, though. And finally, the original 2005 Resident Evil 4 is, according to most, if not all ratings, the highest rated game in the series. I know this sounds like a point against me, but it's not, I promise. Now I'll tell you why. What it means is that because it was so highly rated, Capcom tried to follow it with like-minded entries. Obviously, they didn't work. The drastic changes this game made paved the way for 5 and 6. You know, we all loved Resident Evil 6, right? I liked it-ish. It at least had zombies. Resident Evil 2 Remake, however, is very highly rated and the best game to release in recent years. Being returned to the original with the exploration, puzzles, basically everything except fixed camera angles that made the original games great. This just shows the fans like what the originals offer that made it stand out. In the end, I'm not saying that the games after Resident Evil 4 are all inherently bad or that I didn't like them. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They're great games. I just feel like they shouldn't have been Resident Evil games. These are my opinions, and I'd love to hear yours in the comments. Personally, the idea of pharmaceutical companies, because we all love those these days, making bioweapons, the zombies, the creatures being explained through science, genetic manipulation, make the events seem more real-world possible Then in Resident Evil 4, there's the Amber and Parasite, making it, like I said before, very Jurassic Park. It took away the real world horror that a pharmaceutical company created. And that took out the thought in the back of your brain that it really could happen somewhere. Thus, an important level of the fear has been removed from the series that made Resident Evil so very special. But that's my take on it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Old versus new, a better mixture of the both. I want to hear from you. There's buttons down there, push them. And until next time, have a great day.